What if the beacon of your hope, the light at the end of your dark tunnel, turned out to be nothing more than a mirage? A solemn tale of religious disillusionment unfolds. Now, imagine a woman of deep, steadfast faith, encased within the metallic confines of her wheelchair. A woman who spent many evenings in front of the television, her eyes glued to an engaging preacher whose words echoed throughout her humble home. His tales of awe-inspiring healings at his services had become like a favorite bedtime story, lulling her into a world where she too could defy her physical limitations. Her belief in the televangelist was not born in solitude, but it was rooted in the collective belief of her family, her friends, and her church community. They all saw in him a divine messenger with supernatural abilities. Her journey is more than just crossing miles and miles, traversing the vast expanse of an entire country. It is a journey carried out with the hope nurtured by this televangelist's sermons, the faith of her loved ones, and the countless stories of miraculous healing. The hope that pulsed in her heart was to stand tall once again, to break free from the chains that bind her to the chair, and to walk into the light of her faith. As she sits in the dimly lit room, her weary eyes are drawn to the flickering screen that illuminates the televangelist's face. The persuasive charm of his words weaves a web of hope around her heart. He speaks of his ministry's charitable building projects and programs to alleviate poverty worldwide. His enthusiasm makes her feel as if he is speaking directly to her. He tells her that by sowing a seed into his noble causes, she is not only contributing to the betterment of the world, but also assuring that her prayers will be heard and answered by God. The idea of her contributions making a difference in the world fuels her determination. She is willing to make financial sacrifices, not just for the hope of walking once again, but also for the sake of the causes this televangelist supports. She believes in his power to heal, and she clings to what that represents to her: the hope for a life of mobility and independence, a life free from the shackles of her wheelchair. The televangelist's promise engulfs her, and she finds herself putting a lot of money into his ministry, her heart filled with anticipation of the miraculous healing that awaits her. Her sacrifice, her belief, her hope, all bundled into the seed she sows, promises her a chance at a life she yearns for. She's been inspired by the tales from the man of God, the wealthy and powerful televangelist, whose claim to heal with his touch, his prayers. She believes in him unquestioningly and in his God-given power. She clings to the hope he represents, a hope that's cost her nearly her entire life savings. It's worth more than any sum of money to her. It's a chance that she could someday walk again, and there is nothing she would not give to make that happen. As the woman makes her journey, the faith healer she believes in has made his own journey to the arena where he will preach this night, as it begins to fill with his followers. His world is one of opulence and luxury. The backstage area is adorned with plush furnishings, and the air is heavy with the scent of the most expensive cologne. Staffers, their faces etched with practiced deference, cater to the televangelist's every whim, a constant stream of refreshments and comforts at his disposal. In this secluded enclave, the televangelist's interactions are limited to those within his inner circle, other influential televangelists and wealthy donors. His life, filled with untold luxury, is a stark contrast to the common people who fill his audience. Though the healer was once a common man himself, he now exists within a bubble of wealth and influence, built over decades from the generous donations to his ministry. As the crowd waits in anticipation for the service to reach its start time, the televangelist reclines comfortably and in peace. Far removed from the struggles of those he claims to serve, he prepares himself mentally for the show he is expected to produce. This is the healer's exceptional backstage life, a world unseen by those who place so much belief in his ability to improve their lives. The service begins, a spectacle of lights and sounds. The air is thick with anticipation, the crowd held in the thrall of the televangelist's charisma. The music swells, a rhythmic beat that echoes in the hearts of the attendees. The televangelist takes the stage, his voice booming out over the sea of people. He recounts tales of miracles he claims to have performed, of blind men seeing, of the lame walking. Each story feeds the flame, each word acts as a promise of the miracles to come. As the service progresses, his voice becomes more fervent, his words more urgent. He claims that the time for miracles is now, that those who seek healing must make themselves known. The crowd surges forward, their eagerness palpable in the air. The stage is surrounded by security and ministry staff, Their cold gazes scrutinize the crowd as they select only the most advantageous candidates for the televangelist's miracles. The crowd is now in a frenzy. The faith healer is ready to perform the miraculous. The air is electric with anticipation, the crowd holding their breath, waiting for what amazing thing might happen next. The stage lights focus on the televangelist. His face remains a mask of serene confidence. The time for the healing portion of the service is at hand. The crowd is awestruck. Their hearts are filled to the brim with excitement. The wheelchair-bound woman can hardly believe she is here as she sits among the crowd, her heart pounding. Now is the time she has achingly longed for. Her heart skips a beat as she inches forward, her hands trembling on the wheels of her chair. But her journey to the stage is abruptly halted. A staffer, with a look of cold indifference, bars her way. The important man of God is too busy with the other people, he explains. Too many others to heal. Too little time before he must head to his next service far away in another city. She begins to comprehend she is being turned away and can hardly fathom that her efforts have all been in vain. Her heart sinks for one brief moment, but she steels herself, not yet ready to give up on this fleeting chance to achieve the impossible. In a final all-or-nothing attempt, she tries to stand, to show them her persistence, her need, but her legs betray her, and she crumbles, falling to the hard, cold floor. The crowd gasps, eyes turn to the faith healer, waiting for his reaction. He sees her, lying there, a picture of desolation. He glances her way but quickly chooses to ignore her, assured in the knowledge this footage will be edited from his TV program, and therefore not a problem for his public image. The man of miracles turns away, leaving her there by the side of the stage. He's nothing but a fraud, she thought, and he's built a fortune on the dreams of people like me. Her blood runs cold at this realization. The embarrassed staff members help her up and seat her back into her chair. She is wordless as she reflects on this harsh reality that sometimes faith can be misplaced when entrusted to a mere man. Though she feels devastated, her resilience in the face of such disappointment begins to paint a picture of the human spirit, of the extremes it can reach in the pursuit of a dream. All in all, she was left with a despair deeper than the paralysis that bound her. A despair born from the betrayal of her faith in a popular and beloved televangelist. Yet there is a lesson to be learned. A lesson about the hazards of putting faith in man above God and the significance of prudent faith. Our protagonist returns home, a changed woman. Her faith is reeling, but it has not abandoned her. The grandeur of the faith healer's stage is replaced by the plain comforts of her own house. Every room seems to echo with memories of her past beliefs. She opens her worn-out Bible, the pages whispering familiar and wondrous tales, and she begins to study it with renewed interest and passion. She finds solace in the words she had let a man twist and turn for his benefit. She finds her faith again, not in a man, but in God. In the evenings, she still watches the televangelist's program, but now she sees him through different eyes. No longer is he a divine conduit of healing, but a man exploiting faith for his own gain. The glitz and glamour of his stage now serve as a reminder to her all that glitters is not gold. Yet she watches, not with despair, but with a quiet determination. She has learned her lesson and will put her knowledge to use. In the sanctuary of her home, our protagonist begins to share her story with her friends and family. Her voice, once filled with reverence for the televangelist, now cracks from the pain of her experience. She speaks of the hollow promise of the healing service and the crushing disillusionment that followed. Her words paint a vivid picture of the televangelist as a man exploiting faith for his own gain. The conversations spark discussions about the true nature of faith in God. The room fills with the shared realization that the faith healer is not a true representative of God or the Bible. The truth is now laid bare. Her eyes have been opened, and she is deceived no more. She finds she has a new purpose, to prevent others from being fooled as she once was. The scene ends with a sense of resolution, but also a hint of something more to come. As the curtain falls on her past, a new day dawns. The next chapter of her journey begins, a journey toward truth. Our protagonist once again turns to the pages of the Bible. She delves deep into its teachings, seeking wisdom not from charismatic preachers, but from the sacred text itself. She feels she now has a more robust understanding of what it means to have true faith. It is not about the grandeur of a man, but about the will, love, and unwavering compassion of God. The bitterness she started to feel is replaced by an unshakable determination. She will not allow her experience to destroy her faith in God. Instead, she channels it into a mission, a calling to inform others about the deception she once fell for. She has learned a hard lesson, but one which eventually made her faith all the more certain.